it out so it could get stale, and you knew she was making bread pudding. Over the years, I kind of perfected it because I don't eat white bread. And I started using croissants with mine, which I actually really like because they're buttery. So it's really a easy recipe. As I said, when I sent my recipe out, I kind of eyeball everything. So it's kind of hard for me to say what exact measurements are. So I'm going to try and go by what my measurements were. But like I forgot to put brown sugar in there in my recipe. So you'll see me using brown sugar today, but I'll update the recipe. So anyway, to start, what I do is I just go to Walmart and I buy some croissants. And I typically will buy croissants about 2 days, at least 2 days in advance. Even though this time I didn't, because I didn't know I was doing this. It's a Thursday. But buy my croissants, butter croissants, and then I just open them up and I leave them out all night because you want them to get stale. And the reason why you want them stale is they absorb your mixture, like that milk custard mixture, better once it's stale. So the staler that your bread can be, the better. So what I'll do is I'll break up. If you can see my bowl right here, I started this morning and I broke up pieces, and it's hard, like it's crunchy. So I'll take some 9-corp stick and spray, or you can take butter. I'm gonna try and be good and not, slather that pan in butter because there's gonna be enough butter in there when I finish. And so I'm gonna take this little pan cooking spray, and I just do my little baking dish like this. So it just makes it easier actually for cleaning up. And I'll take my croissants, as I already had some, and I just start breaking them up. And you can break them up really any size that you want, and you can buy any size croissants that you want, actually. Usually I'll buy the large croissants, but they didn't have any at our Walmart when I went, so I got these small ones. So I break these up, and usually I'll break them up in the pan, so I don't have an extra dish. But because I was showing y'all how to do it. Oh, somebody had a question? No, Taylor said somebody had a question. So, all right. So then I just take this mixture, and Taylor, fix the TV. Fix that. Put it down so they can see. 1 second. My recorder is so then I just take it up a little bit. So I just take this all in here, and I just pack it in here. So very simple, very simple.
Hey, Krystal.
Yeah.
What did you say other people may use for bread before you started using croissants? What did you use?
People might use like any kind of sweet bread. Some people use raisin bread, white bread, wheat bread. They can use challah bread, which is a Jewish bread, which is good too. So any kind of bread that you want, you can use. I just don't prefer like regular old loaf bread personally.
Right.
So as you can tell me, you can. So just finishing up right here.
Let's get that home.
Just finishing up right here, and I get it packed down in here. Now, one of the things that I did say was I add my raisins to my mixture, but I forgot that what happens, I find, if I add the raisins to the custard mixture is that just because your raisins are dense, when you go to pour it in, they'll just all kind of go to the top. So I like for my raisins to be throughout. So as I said, I don't know. And it also depends on how much you like raisins. So I kind of just mix them all through here as I go. Oh, I can find the battery about to die.
What's new?
Your battery about to die. And I didn't do anything. It says your battery's about to die. I'm sorry. So as you can see, I'm just mixing it through in here. The raisins.
So Krystal, you don't have to use raisins though, right?
No, you don't. Not at all. You can use, if you don't like raisins, you might use chocolate chips if you want to have like a chocolate chip
Pudding.
bread pudding. It's really up to you.
Have you ever used apples, Krystal?
I have not.
I would like a diced apple.
Oh, that would be good. No, I
And some
never even
cinnamon.
thought of that. Using an apple. Never thought of it. Because I really make it like the way my grandma made it, except that she used, like I said, white Wonder Bread or Stroman's white bread.
Right.
Okay, so got this out the way. So then what I do is I'm gonna take this bowl right here, and I'm gonna take a cup of sugar, any old kind of sugar, and you may not, I'm being honest, you know, if you're cutting back, you don't want to add sweet, you don't have to use as much sugar. You know, it just depends on what you want. So I put a cup of sugar in there.
All right, Ramona.
Hold on.
And then I also,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Ivan, can you mute other people except for Krystal?
0592.
Dad.
I got the wrong number for that.
and then I also
Yeah, I'm sorry.
take some dark brown sugar. So I'm taking probably about, I probably want about a quarter cup of brown sugar. And like I said, this is like one of those recipes, I'm gonna be honest, that you might want it sweeter or not as sweet. So you'll play with it. But I'll add that in, my brown sugar. And then I take 3 eggs. Crack my 3 eggs in, 3 large eggs I put in there. Okay, any questions? I'm on mute. Oh, they're on mute. Okay, if you have any questions, just let Ivan know. And then I just take my, I'm on mute? Oh. Then I just take this little blender and blend this. Okay. All righty. And then I do 2 tablespoons of vanilla. And I can't see which one because I can't see. But I do my vanilla. Those are, all righty.
That was 3.
So, all right. Then I take nutmeg. Take a little nutmeg. All right. See my nutmeg, my little nutmeg in here. A little teaspoon of nutmeg. And then I take cinnamon. Let's see. And pour my cinnamon in, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. I'll probably put a little bit more because I know we like it cinnamon. All right. And, all right. And then I take butter. I take melted butter, and I know I said 6 tablespoons of melted butter, but I just went ahead and used a whole stick because I typically will use a whole stick of butter. Sometimes, honestly, I'll actually use even more butter than that. It just depends on how much bread I have. Okay. So then I'll take this and I'll add 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now you'll look online and a lot of recipes will tell you to use, she said, entire stick, yes. A lot of recipes will tell you to use whole milk. I like heavy whipping cream. So anytime I get a recipe tell me to use milk, I'm using heavy cream. So I take 2 cups of this nice, thick, heavy cream. So just think, if you on a diet, you do not want this, because this is rich. Because you got sugar and butter and cream. So there's a lot of calories, but it's not like you're eating this every day. I typically make this once, maybe twice a year. And Mrs. McGrady will tell you, it's usually Easter and Christmas is when I'll make this. I'm not making it more than that. So now I'm just going to mix all this up.
So I have a question for Krystal and any other baker on the phone, because I'm not really a baker. And I heard you say you always replace milk with that cream. What is it about cream that's so good again?
What'd you say?
I said, I heard you say that you always replace your milk in recipes with that cream. Now, please educate me on what cream is supposed to do, because I'm not a baker.
I'm not a baker either, but I just know cream, it just makes it richer. It's richer. So I like it. So like when I make like mac and cheese, when this ain't milk, I use cream, heavy whipping cream. So I don't ask me why. It just makes it richer. It's just a richer taste for me. So that's why I do it. If anybody's on the phone that's a baker, please, can you enlighten us the difference between just the regular milk and cream?
More fat.
More fat. Okay.
That's why it's so good.
All righty, there you go.
Right.
Then I take this and I just pour this over my bread. Pull it down. Yep, just pour this over, as you can see. And I need to get me a spatula. And I get everything in here. And I'll be honest, I eyeball it to see how just pat it down right here. And then you can see your mixture is in here. And what'll have to happen is, and I'll be honest with this, I probably am going to add more cream to it. Just so it can soak it up more, because I actually probably have more croissant in here broken up smaller, but I'll do that later. So what you want to do once you do this, you really want to let this sit for about at least 30 to 45 minutes. And that's because you want this bread to absorb all that mixture, because otherwise when you bake it, it's going to be flaky and it'll come out like kind of like just your mixture, cream mixture on the top. So please always give yourself about 30 to 45 minutes to let it sit. Then you can bake it. So I'm going to let this sit over on the side of the oven. I'm just going to put this over here. And then after you bake it, you'll bake it for 350 minutes. I mean, you'll bake it at 350 degrees. And it'll probably take you about, depending on your oven, it may take about 45 minutes to an hour to cook. So while you're waiting for that, you want to make your whiskey sauce for that, or your bourbon sauce for that. That I'm about to do. Okay, so let me just do this right here, because I gotta remember my recipe for that. All righty. So with my bourbon sauce, you can use any kind of bourbon that you want. I got some Jim Beam that I'm using. You can also switch it up to a whiskey, or whatever you have on hand. I usually serve this on the side because everyone does not like whiskey. I try not to make it strong either, because if you have it really strong, it takes away, I think, from the flavor of your bread pudding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt my butter. Come over here, Taylor. All right, here, Taylor's coming over. I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter. Let me get a knife, I'm sorry. I'm just going to melt that.
Hey, Krystal.
Yes.
Pastor says she uses communion wine to keep it holy.
All right. Whatever works. So I'm just gonna melt that. 1 second. You can stay right there. Stay on that. Let's see. Sugar. Get my sugar. 1 sec. This was a whipping cream. All right. Then I'm gonna get my whipping cream. Melt this up. It's not gonna take me long for this to melt up. I'm gonna use I washed this out. This did have egg in it. I washed it out. I'm gonna put a 1/2 cup of sugar in here. I'm gonna put my whipping cream in here. Let me get my little things. All righty. So I'm just gonna let this melt. I'm gonna blend my sugar into here. And like I said, depending on how, bring your camera back, go back some. Depending on how sweet you want it to be, you can cut that on the sugar. But here we'll put sugar. Throwing 1/2 cup in there. Okay, and then I just whisk it together. And you can bring it over, Taylor, so they can see. Right over here, you can see that's whisked together in here as it melted.
You can substitute vanilla extract.
Yes, you can. Somebody said you can substitute a vanilla extract. You can. Yep. I've done that before too. Done a vanilla extract. And then here I'm going to do my 3 tablespoons of cream. I think this is a tablespoon. I can't see. My vision is pretty bad. Here we go. Those are half. These are halves. So I got to do 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Those were half in my measuring kit.
Where are your glasses?
I have contacts. I haven't worn contacts in ages, and we had sorority meeting this morning, and we were doing pictures. That's the only reason. So that's whisked together, and now I'm gonna put my little Jim Beam in here, my little whiskey. Like I said, if you know you're not a whiskey drinker or whatever, or you don't like to taste the alcohol, as someone said, you definitely can use a vanilla also. Okay.
Someone asked if you can use confectionery sugar instead of regular sugar.
You probably can. I mean, I've used confectionery sugar for other sauces, so I'm sure you could. Like I said, I'm not a baker, but this is just like kind of like what we had growing up. So this is what it looks like when it's done, and you want to just keep it a little, you want to let it cool down. And as I said before, you're going to serve it separate. But here is what your bread pudding will look like when you're done. It's like, this is a mini one I made just so I would be able to show you what it looks like when it's done. It'll rise up, it'll be nice and buttery, brown, and then you let this cool off a little bit, and then you can put that sauce on it if you would like a sauce. And that's pretty much it. Very simple, very tasty. Very easy to make and very cheap to make. Any questions?
Looks good, Krystal.
Thank you.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be bringing Mrs. McGrady some later today. We'll be dropping her off some.
What you say, Bob?
So, Krystal, is that sauce?
What'd you say, Dawn?
Is that sauce put over individual pieces, or do you pour it over the whole thing?
No, I do individual because some people don't like a sauce on theirs. So usually I'll just put it on the side and the kids will pour it on theirs or not, just depending. Because like sometimes I want sauce and then sometimes I'm just like, I don't want anything. Sometimes I just like to have it like a nice buttery hot piece. It's also really good with vanilla ice cream. Little Odd likes to do vanilla ice cream and the sauce with his. So, you know, lots of calories, very rich, but as I said before, it's not something that you eat all the time.
Does it taste like any other kind of dessert? I've never had it.
I don't. It is a dessert. It definitely. I don't know what else it tastes like.
Oatmeal raisin.
It's like Taylor just said, maybe like an oatmeal raisin.
Okay.
It tastes like to her. So if you like that, I mean, a lot of places don't sell bread pudding, but when we were in New Orleans and traveling down south to take Ivan to school, we found so many places. So if I see it on the menu, I will literally be like, okay, what am I going to eat? Because I know I'm getting bread pudding. So I may not want to go in on the recipe on my meal because I know I want bread pudding.
Right. My mother loves it.
Krystal, it is a Southern dish, right? I think so.
Yes, it's a Southern dish.
It was using up all the leftover bread.
Yeah, absolutely. Krystal, how long does the sauce last once you make it? How long can you keep it?
I usually can put it in the refrigerator and it'll last about 3 to 5. I would say probably about 5 days. I usually don't have bread pudding that long.
Right.
But I think it would keep about 3 to 5 days. And there are all kinds of sauces that you can find on the internet if you don't want anything with alcohol in it. As Chantel said, you can substitute. Telling my head. Like as Chantel said, you can substitute a vanilla for it, a vanilla extract for it. Always when cooking, I would say use vanilla, like real vanilla. Don't use like the fake stuff. There definitely is a difference in taste. So spend the extra money on the good stuff.
So Krystal, I've never had this before either. Do you guys heat it up as you eat each piece? Is it something that's heated or you eat it room temperature, cold?
Hot. I usually warm it up. Warm it up.
Warm it.
And I don't put it in the microwave. I'll wrap it in foil and put it in the oven just to heat up, just to take the cold off of it. My grandmother, and I don't know, that's just because growing up, I swear she ain't put nothing in the refrigerator to stay out in school. But so I don't think we had to heat it up with her because it was room temperature.
Yeah, it's either it's better room temperature or warm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So, yep. So that's it. And unless you have any more questions, I hope you try it. It is very good. When we are back from social distancing, if the staff let me, if she need a dessert, I'll bring it.
Yay.
I'll bring it for 4th Sunday when we're back to that. Eventually.
Sunday, 5th Sunday.
I will bring the dessert. But yeah.
Nice.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.